really appreciate the opportunity to be here today to talk to you about Click. I'll just start out though, it's kind of fortuitous that I was here. As I was getting ready this morning, I was looking for my Navy shoes, and I found one shoe. My dog has a habit of picking up shoes and placing them around the house for me. I could not find my other shoe, so the invocation was especially important this morning because apparently it was Allah's gift to me, what I didn't have, which is my other blue shoe. So I'm here to talk a little bit about Click. I'm sure you've all heard about Click. If you've been reading the newspaper, it's been in the news quite a bit lately. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Click and kind of how we got to where we are today, some of the challenges that we're facing, some solutions that we've proposed, and then just talk about what's coming. And then I'll leave plenty of time to answer questions that you may have about Click as well. So first of all, just an overview, and I wanted to give you a sense of how Click is structured. Tacoma Public Utilities is a utility that does power, water, rail, and we also have a cable television service that's a part of Tacoma Public Power. So Tacoma Power actually owns Click Network, and Click is the operator of that network. So these functions that you see on this chart are some of the things that Click does. They operate the city's INET. So that's a system that connects schools and other government buildings. Click is also used for our electric system. We know what's happening at our substations in real time thanks to the Click network. We also offer retail cable television service. So through the Click network, we have 3 ISP partners who offer internet service to customers. Click does not directly offer internet. We have 3 partners who are private companies that do that, and they've operated since the beginning. We used to have 4, now we have 3. And then another piece of Click is this wholesale. So most of you may not be connected to the wholesale side, but we have 7 providers who provide service to businesses and things like that on the wholesale side. So just an overview of this is what we're talking about when we talk about Click. A lot of the focus is on the cable side of the business because that's what we operate. Okay, so in '97 when Click was envisioned, it was a really great idea. We needed an electrical system we needed a network, telecommunications network for our electrical system. And there was a thought that could we get more out of this network? And so the idea was that we would offer cable television service. At that time, the internet really wasn't in every household. It wasn't in a lot of households. Cable was kind of where it was. A lot of people were home. Cable was at its peak where it was a really premier product to offer. So at that time, the utility anticipated that Click cable TV would gain about 25% of the market for cable television. And then with that 25%, it would be able to recover the costs that we made in building this network. And I just want to make it clear that Tacoma Power paid all of the costs for building Click network, so all of the capital costs. So there was also this vision that we would use wired meters to connect to your homes, and we actually did do that. I'll talk about that in a minute. So using wired meters so we can have smart meters that gave information back and forth for the system. So instead of knowing at a substation level if we have power outages, we could know at a house level where there were outages and things like that, and customers could get more information. So it was a pretty optimistic view at the time. What has come true, and I'll talk a little bit more about these things, is that cable really isn't king anymore. You know, people are really more relying on the internet than they are on cable. That's how they get their internet. A lot of people get their entertainment through internet, and they're not getting as much through cable television. Smart meter technology has changed. At the time that we were proposing a wired system, the industry was looking more at a wireless system. So we had a custom system built for Tacoma Power, custom meters built, but the industry went more toward wireless. And then our hybrid business model, because of the changes in how people consume internet and how they consume cable TV, the hybrid business model of having 3 private companies operate really hasn't benefited utility and utility customers. It's been more beneficial to the ISPs. So this gives you a snapshot of what the view was in 1997. They anticipated at this time, about 45,000 cable television customers. Click peaked at about 25,000 cable customers, and that was back in around 2008, 2009. They also projected fewer ISP customers than what we have now. As you can see from the line, the dark line, that was the projection, and we're actually above that number, projecting above that number for this year and next year. The revenues, as you can see, the revenues never got anywhere near what was projected back in '97 that they would be. And then programming costs. There's been a lot of coverage in the newspaper about programming costs. We used to get channels like ABC, NBC, the local stations for free. Now we pay for them, and we pay pretty significantly for them. So that was a change that really couldn't have been anticipated back in 1997. So I've talked a little bit about this. The programming costs have increased from 0 to, I think for one of the companies, it's over 700% that we are paying above when we started paying back in 2008. We have, a declining TV customer base. I was just talking to someone this morning who said, I don't need cable. I don't really watch enough TV to justify the cost of it, and I get my entertainment over the internet, which is really common. I think if you talk to younger people, cable, they just wouldn't even consider putting cable in their houses because they consume everything over the internet. The business model, as I spoke earlier, just really isn't working for us. Our costs are escalating, and there's a lot that goes into that. The smart meter technology being wireless, we just had our chief technology officer talk yesterday to the council, and he said that the cost of a smart meter, a wireless smart meter, is about $180. The cost of a wired smart meter is about $500. So of course, when we go that direction, we'll go toward a wireless technology because that's what the industry is doing. That's what makes sense. It's not that wired is not available. You can custom build them, but it really doesn't make sense to do that. And then rates. Our rates used to be quite a bit lower than Comcast. And in Tacoma, our Click service area, they were actually driving rates down for, compared to outside the city. So if you went to Gig Harbor, the rates were much higher for cable television than they are now. That actually no longer exists. And part of it's just because of our escalating costs have driven the rates up. So I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So this is what's happened with cable TV and ISP customers. Cable TV hit its peak, and now it's declining. We're seeing a steady decline. And this isn't just for Click. This is also true in the industry. Almost every cable company is saying that their subscriptions are dropping, while internet is just increasing significantly. So we expect this trend to continue. If you look at some price comparisons for cable television between us and Comcast, you can see the differences here. Over on the right-hand side, the numbers in purple are where Click is higher, and the numbers in red are where Comcast is higher, except where there are parentheses around. That means, that like the $5.95 for the DVR outlet is we're lower there, but in most places, Click is either the same price as Comcast or it's actually higher than Comcast for cable television. A lot of people don't subscribe to what we call a la carte. They're in a bundle package. It's estimated that about 60 to 70% of people who have Comcast have a bundle package, either a double play with cable and internet, or they have a triple play with cable, internet, and phone. So with Click, we're not really structured that way. Because if you have Click Cable TV, you get your cable TV a la carte through us, and then you get your ISP service through one of our 3 ISP partners. So if you think about it as a customer, let's say you're a new person coming into town, and you call and you say, okay, I want Click TV. And they say, great, we can sign you up. Now I also want to get internet. Well, you can do that, but you have to call one of these 3 companies, and you have to sign up with them, and they're going to make separate arrangements to come out to your house and set up your internet, and you're going to get 2 bills. And a lot of people say, I don't want the hassle of that. I just want to pay 1 bill. I want to have it all packaged together. I want to make it easy. I think bundle was kind of a 4-letter word to some people at some point, but a lot of people, I think the ease and the price difference that happens by using a bundle is very attractive. So that's something that we're competing with. So when you look at the internet's really interesting to me, and we just kind of recently started looking into this because we don't offer direct internet service, but what's happened in this area is that we have the first three on this line, Advanced Stream, NetVenture, and Rainier Connect. Those are our three ISPs. Comcast also offers service within the city limits and within Click service area. And then Wave Broadband does not offer service in this area. As you can see, the pricing, the business model that we have in place really has driven internet prices up in our service area and not down like we would have hoped and anticipated. I think the one, it's hard to get comparables before the 55 megabits per second. But if you look at that column, you'll see that it's about $90 through our three internet service providers. Comcast has a 75 megabit per second, for less than you pay for our three partners. And then Wave Broadband, who operates outside, offers it for $30 less. So we're not getting the competitive rates in internet in our service area that I think was envisioned back in '97 when Click was, an idea and we decided to build it. So from a financial perspective, and this is really what's been a lot in the media, is that Click is not able to cover its own costs. The revenues that are brought in through customers can't cover operating and maintenance expenses, which is what you see in the purple section. Taxes are the gray section. And then the capital, which is just things like set-top boxes and other equipment that Click needs to offer service, is in the kind of the teal color. And then that green color at the top is called imputed debt service. And that's the cost that would have been assigned to Click for that initial capital investment that was made. And there's been a lot of focus on whether Click should or shouldn't have to pay that, but it really doesn't matter if you just look at the numbers, as the black line shows, Click can't cover its costs with the revenues it's bringing in. So this has been the foundation for Tacoma Public Utilities to bring a proposal to the City Council. What's happening is the difference that you see there is being made up by electric customers because it is a part of Tacoma Power. So the revenue is not coming from the cable side, are being covered by all electric customers, whether they have cable access to Click or not, or whether they're a cable television subscriber or not. So from a utility perspective, management perspective, our goal has been to stop having electric customers making up that difference for Click. And so we've been looking for ways to do that. And we've had a lot of analysis done. We've had experts in the cable industry and the internet industry come in and look at our model and say, what can we do to solve this problem so electric customers are no longer paying for cable television service? And that's what we've brought to the council. So we looked at 9 different options for this. The first one is to keep operating as we are, and then go fully retail, so offer cable and internet service, either competing with the current ISPs or buying out the ISPs to try to cut labor costs. Labor is a big part of our costs. To just offer wholesale broadband and just let the cable side of it go. To shut down altogether or to sell it, and then to operate it with a third party, lease it out to a third party. So that right-hand column, you can see that at a 10-year NPV, the bottom 3 are the ones that really pencil out financially. So we did this analysis, we kind of explored these different options, and we moved toward the third one, leasing out the network, because we felt like that was going to bring the most benefit to all Tacoma Power customers. It would turn it from the network from a money loser into actually making money for our customers. And so we pursued that. We had a company called Wave Broadband approach us and talk to us about leasing the network. And at the end of March, we made that proposal to the City Council. So this is what the model would look like if we had a third-party operator. In this case, we have Wave in there. Everything essentially looks almost the same. You see that third bar underneath Tacoma Power, instead of it being Click Network, that would be Wave Broadband, which is a company based in Kirkland. And so they would offer the same things that Click currently offers, but they would do it in a private business setting, not a government setting, that's a little bit more nimble and flexible than we are. So they would have a much better chance of being successful operating in this area than we would. The 3 ISPs that currently operate on the network could continue to operate on the network. They would just get their service through Wave instead of through Click, but everything else essentially remains the same. So a little bit about their proposal. They proposed a 40-year contract with us, which I think a lot of people feel like is a long time to commit to a private company. We've heard some feedback about that. They would pay $2 million in payments to us, lease payments each year, and then commit to at least $1.5 million each year actually investing in the network. We feel like the $1.5 million would be a very low number, kind of a minimum number, because we've done some analysis in what it would take to operate the system. It would require more of a capital investment than that, but that would be on Wave, not Tacoma Power customers to do that. And then they would pay all of the costs of the network. So it would equate to about $6 million in savings for Tacoma Power customers each year. And then they would maintain the infrastructure, so we would no longer be doing that. We would essentially, they would be operating the network on our behalf. So the value of the contract that they proposed to us is about $380 million. Now we took this to the council, and the council, I think we might have made a little bit of mistake in not getting them up to the point where we were when we brought it to them. I think it was a pretty shocking proposal for them. They weren't anticipating that we were going to bring something from a private company. And so we've been in a lot of discussions with them. We've been bringing them more and more information to help them understand the picture where Click is. Some people don't want to have a public network operated by a private company. And so we're looking at some other options. We've had a proposal from Rainier Connect, who's one of our ISP partners, essentially the same proposal that Wave made. So what we're looking for now is some direction from the council and our public utility board on where they want us to go, to either pursue a Wave proposal or pursue something else. So we had a meeting yesterday with Click. If you saw the Business Examiner yesterday, there was an article about it. We also had, there's an article in the newspaper this morning. We had a meeting with the board and the council yesterday, and they had a discussion, and some of the council members and at least one of our board members expressed a desire to keep Click. They said, we want to keep it operating. We want you to explore what it would take to make it work. So that's the latest direction that we've gotten from them. We're going to go back, try to figure out how we can put something together that, our goal is to remove the subsidy that's in place for electric customers. So can we do that while also continuing to operate the business? So that's our next step, is to go to the council and talk to them about what it might mean to be all in. And so we're continuing just to be out talking to people, answering questions, getting feedback from people, because the council and the board, how they make decisions is by hearing from people in the community. And so there's been a pretty vocal opposition against using a private network or a private company to operate the network. But they need to hear from everyone and not just those few. So that is the end of my presentation. I would be happy to answer questions that you have. If you want to comment and tell me to put in more money, I'm happy to do that too.